Greetings and welcome back to Fate Grand Order. Today we are going to talk about the best and most efficient way to farm great knight medals, these right here. Now the reason you want these medals is because pretty much anybody that is related to King Arthur or is of his family, not counting the original Altria Saber and Altria Altar, and by this I mean anybody from the Knights of the Round Table arc and forward will require these medals for either their abilities or for their ascension, so getting these medals is a bit of an important task. Now unfortunately these things only drop from the Knights in Camelot, and if you've been to Camelot you know what a pain in the butt those guys are. So what is the best way to kill these guys as quickly as possible, farm these things as quickly as possible? Well, the best way is here at the Royal Castle free quest. Now, as you can see, we are only going to face against Saber enemies, which is to our advantage because it means we can concentrate on bringing AoE archers to wipe them out. However, at the end of the fight, we are also going to be facing a shadow version of Gawain with around 180,000 HP. So it's not exactly a walk in the park. So what is the best way to handle this? Well, let's go in. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find yourself a Zhugliang, aka Waver support. Obviously, the best... the higher his abilities he has, the better. Like this one right here, Mistax, will bring him along. Now, this is the team I have arranged based on the strategy that I'm going to tell you right now. So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that the most important guy is this guy, Arash. Now, how can a 1-star be the most important guy? Well, the reason is 1, he's an archer, 2, he has an AoE Noble Phantasm, and 3, it is a buster type. And 4, his third ability, which you can get after his ascension, after his strengthening quest, increases his NP by 20 to 30% depending on its level. So right off the bat, that means that if you start him off with that very specific craft essence right here, the hot-blooded summer resin we got from Onigashima, I believe it was, he starts with 50% charge. And then if you use his own ability, it jumps it to 80%. And then if you use a supporter, in my case, I have Helena, because 1, I do not have El Meloy II there. And if you don't have Helena, you can also use Shakespeare. However, you will have to go through his strengthening quest, which involves getting him to his maximum ascension. Now, let me show you why. Now, Helena, as I have her right now, is very similar to Mr. Shakespeare we have right here. If you go down to his abilities, you will see right there, King's Men C, increases MP gauge and C-star drop rate. Now the important part is the increasing the MP gauge. This will always increase it by 20%, no matter what level it is. So if you get him up to this stage, you have a guaranteed 20% right there. Not only that, he comes with his first ability, which increases buster card effectiveness. So all of that is good. However, because I do have something better in Helena, who in her case, because I leveled up her first ability to level 20, increases all allies MP gauge. Now, depending on the level for that one, it's either 10 to 20%. So between giving 20% to one person or 20% to everybody else, well, to everybody, I'm going to obviously stick with Helena. Now, after that, you're going to need a second wave clear MP. Now, I chose to have Nobunaga here because 1, her MP is also a buster type, which means it deals the most damage. It is AoE, she is an archer, and really other than that, that is the reason why I chose her. Now, if you don't have Nobunaga, you could also go with Emiya. He's also pretty good, and he should be relatively easy to get. If you do have Gilgamesh, he might also be a good idea, but I'm not sure how much damage he can do to non-servants. And if you don't have either of those, you can always go with Kiyohime. No, come on, where? There she is, Kiyohime. Now, the reason is 1, her MP is also an AoE. 2 is she's a berserker, so even though she doesn't deal twice as much damage to lancers as archers do, increased damage is increased damage. And I believe 3 is because she can also lower the defense of somebody by around 20% or so. Give me a second, oh, there you are. Okay, there he is. Not sure why you got moved around, but anyway, that's the main strategy. Now, the other thing you need to know about Arash right there is that his MP will kill him. And you're wondering, wait, why do you want him dead? Well, after he uses MP, he is generally useless because of his relatively low attack. So by killing himself, we allow the rest of our team to jump in. And that's when our support is going to come in and help Nobunaga finish charging her MP and help her launch it on the second wave. And that's important because the knights are the most difficult part of these fights. There's a lot of them, they have a lot of HP, and they can suddenly start critting you for around 5,000, which can hurt quite a lot. Now, lastly, we are going to have Aeriale there as our anchor. Now, obviously, you may or may not have a kaleidoscope. This is probably one of the most powerful craft instances you can find as a low level. Well, as you can see, begin battle with MP charge at 8%. If you don't have one, which is perfectly fine, you can replace it with something else. So what other options? The chances of you having... Where are you? No, those are... Where are you? This one right here. If you have the imaginary element, this one starts you off at 60%. Not nearly as good, but definitely better than nothing. And that is the important part. Helping her start her MP as high as possible will make the final phase a lot easier. Now, as you can see, we are also running quite a few event craft instances, which is unfortunate, but it's what we kind of need. So for Nobunaga, increases her MP strength by 20% and begins better with 50% charge. Definitely something we need. Now, the important one here is this one. As you can see, increase all allies' buster card effectiveness by 15% when entering for the field for the first time. Because Helena has, and she's on the first wave of our servants, it is going to trigger right off the bat. And since I mentioned earlier, Arash and Nobunaga's MP is a buster type, this is going to increase their attack even more. So you start getting the idea, right? So cycle through your servants, clear the waves as quickly as possible, and reach the final boss-ish before you lose momentum. Now, this is not the absolute, you must use this strategy, it won't work. Somebody on the wiki actually suggested this team right under the Metal Great Knight page. I believe his name is Sky7X. And he posted an extremely budget team with very few 4-star servants. However, he did invest some attack cards into his Arash to raise his attack to 8,000, which was a big difference. And I believe he also has a few other differences. So the important part here is not to go through this strategy identically, but use it and adapt it to what you have. Now, the other important part here is this, the outfit. The important part here is we have the order change, the last ability. This is going to allow us to switch the servant that we need to switch out for someone that is already ready to launch their MP. In this case, Nobunaga and Aeriale. Not only that, it comes with a buff all allies for a little bit of extra oomph. And with that, all that together makes this little team work. Now, lastly, Heracles is there as an anchor because there's no reason not to. And because we are able to complete this before he comes out, you can give him a farming CE like that one I have right there, which increases their bond points by 50, or you can increase your Mystic Court experience, or whatever you want. So, with all of that said, let's show you how this works, shall we? Okay, here we go. Wave 1. Now, because I actually have Helena, and she's got this very nifty ability right here, which increases all type of card effectiveness, I use that just to make sure Arash and Nobunaga do enough damage. Then I am going to use her first ability to make sure everybody's MP begins to be charged, and Arash is going to finish charging his own, just like that. And that is really all we need to do at this point now. Obviously, if we could get a Burster Chain, it would be better, but we don't have any way to reset our cards in this deck, so that should be all we need. So go with that, and because he's going to die, we might as well continue with Nobunaga, just in case they happen to survive because of a low roll on damage. And I believe one did. Yep, they just did. We did get a bit low on the roll there, unfortunately. Now, the important part here is that we want to reach the second fight on at least our third turn, which is going to happen here. Now, if you get lucky with the high roll on the damage for Arash, you can get to the second battle on the second turn, but currently we don't need to. Because it's only 3,000 damage, we can easily finish it off with this, with Nobunaga here. There we go, and now on to the second fight. Now, the important part here is that we want to maintain the Buster bonus from Helena's Craft Essence into this second wave. That way, Nobunaga can deal maximum damage. Now, because we have Waver, we're going to do this to increase her damage just a little bit, just to ensure it can work. And I do believe that is all we can do. Oh yeah, this, make sure. In my case, by using that, well, by using both waivers and my Mystic Code attack up, I do believe this should allow us to finish off this wave with one of Nobunaga's MPs, hopefully. Now, after she uses hers, we're going to switch her out for Uriali for the final boss. So, completing the heroic chain with her won't benefit us. So we're going to, just in case, finish it up with those two to have their MPs ready, should we need them. And excellent, just enough to kill them all. That's exactly what we needed. And now comes the final boss, which is honestly the easiest part of the fight. Okay, so now that we're here, we're going to use our switch here with her. Now, the other good thing is that she can basically fill up her MP by using this. Now, depending on the level, it goes anywhere from, I believe, 13 to 27. The amount of charge she gains. It's a very odd number, but we can use it just to get this going. Even if it misses, and that'll be that. And we do get an arch chain to help everybody out. Obviously use this to make sure it hits even harder. And there really is nothing else we can do, so go like this, and let's go like this. We have nothing better to do. Only 36 on the lower side, honestly, but he is charmed, so we don't have to worry about any retaliation this turn. Then we're going to charm him yet again. And we did. Excellent. And Uriala is back there with an arch chain from everybody else. Actually, let's do this. And as you can see, once you get to this phase of the fight and you deal that much damage to him, the fight is essentially yours. There really shouldn't be any problem finishing this fight with what you have available to you. And then we're going to use this. That gets us to 49, and that would be 79. Not enough, unfortunately. So we're going to do this, and what else? Might as well finish it off with that. And this is basically over thanks to this. We even also got Helena's backup, and this is exactly what we want to finish this. There we go. And that is how you farm for all these night medals that are very annoying. Now, they only drop from the net, so we have a chance to get 5, but how many will we actually get? We got 1. I've had some very bad luck with the rolls on the drops here, and I've only ever gotten 1 from this fight. But at least getting 1 from what seems to be a guaranteed drop is better than nothing, honestly. So, to go over, you want to have a rat. Now, a rash needs to be at max level and at MP level 5 in order to fully clear the first wave. That is pretty much the most important part of the team. After that, you want to bring in your best AoE, if possible, archer for the second wave. Then you're going to need a caster that can increase MP by at least 20% to one person to help Arash launch his during the first wave and advance quickly. If you don't have Helena or Weaver, you can go with Shakespeare, as I mentioned earlier. But you need to get him to Final Ascension and to go through his Strengthening quest to get that ability unlocked. Then you will also need Uriali. The better you have her, obviously the better, because she deals massive damage to male saber enemies. And then always bring a Weaver support. Regardless of the level that a Weaver's abilities are, they always give 30, 10, and 10 MP charge respectively. So he is by far one of the most important members of the fight. And as always, make sure you bring, well, not as always, as oddly enough, make sure you bring this one so you can benefit from the ability to switch your servants in the middle of the fight. And you should have no problem farming the medals. Unfortunately, it is still like 21 stamina for 1 in my case, which kind of sucks, but that's just how the way the game is. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.